The interview that changed everything. The morning rain drummed gently against the windows of the downtown coffee shop where Sarah Martinez sat, nervously adjusting her blazer for the third time. Her 4-year-old daughter, Emma, sat quietly beside her, coloring in a worn activity book with careful concentration. The crayons were down to stubs, but Emma didn't seem to mind. She had learned, as children of single mothers often do, to find joy in simple things. Sarah checked her phone again. 10:30. The interview was scheduled for 11, and the corporate office was just 2 blocks away. She had rehearsed her answers dozens of times, practiced her handshake in the mirror, and researched the company until she could recite their mission statement by heart. This job at Henderson & Associates meant everything to her. After months of unemployment following the closure of her previous company, her savings had dwindled to almost nothing. The rent was due next week, and Emma needed new shoes. More than that, Sarah needed to feel useful again, to contribute something meaningful to the world beyond the walls of their small apartment. "Mommy, are you nervous?" Emma asked, looking up from her coloring book with the intuitive wisdom that children sometimes possess. Sarah smiled, smoothing her daughter's dark curls. "A little bit, sweetheart, but sometimes being nervous just means something is important to us." The babysitter had canceled at the last minute that morning, claiming she had come down with the flu. Sarah had called everyone she could think of, her neighbor, her sister who lived across town, even her ex-mother-in-law who rarely returned her calls. No one was available. The interview had taken 3 weeks to schedule, and Sarah knew that asking to reschedule would not make a good impression. So here they were, mother and daughter, preparing to face this challenge together as they had faced so many others. At 10:50, Sarah gathered her things, helped Emma pack up her crayons, and walked the 2 blocks to the gleaming office building. The lobby was all marble and glass, intimidating in its perfection. Emma's small hand found hers as they approached the reception desk. "Sarah Martinez here for an 11 o'clock interview with Mr. Peterson," Sarah said to the receptionist, a woman in her 30s with perfectly styled hair and a crisp white blouse. The receptionist's eyes immediately went to Emma, and her professional smile faltered slightly. "Oh, I see you've brought someone with you." "Yes, this is my daughter Emma. I'm sorry, but my childcare fell through this morning. She'll be very quiet, I promise. She has her coloring book, and I'm afraid that's not going to work," the receptionist interrupted, her tone becoming cooler. "This is a professional environment. We can't have children in the interview rooms. It's company policy." Sarah felt her cheeks grow warm. "I understand, but perhaps she could wait here in the lobby. She's very well behaved, and the interview shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. The receptionist shook her head firmly. "I'm sorry, but that's not possible either. Children are a distraction, and this is a business environment. Perhaps you should reschedule when you have proper arrangements." The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. Months of searching for this opportunity, weeks of preparation, and now it was slipping away because life had thrown her an unexpected curve. She felt Emma squeeze her hand tighter, sensing the tension even if she didn't understand it completely. "Please," Sarah said quietly, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "I need this interview. I'm a hard worker, I have excellent qualifications, and I won't let personal circumstances affect my professional performance. Emma will sit quietly. I give you my word." "The answer is no," the receptionist replied curtly. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have other appointments to manage." Sarah stood there for a moment, feeling the weight of disappointment and frustration. She thought about the rent, about Emma's shoes, about the long months of rejection letters and unreturned phone calls. She was about to turn away when the elevator doors opened. A tall man in an expensive suit stepped out, his silver hair neat and his bearing confident. He moved with the quiet authority of someone accustomed to making important decisions. His eyes took in the scene at the reception desk. Sarah in her carefully chosen interview outfit, Emma with her coloring book, and the receptionist's stern expression. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his voice calm but attentive. The receptionist straightened immediately. "Mr. Henderson, this woman brought her child to an interview. I was just explaining our policy about—" "Mr. Henderson?" Sarah interrupted, her heart racing. This was the CEO of the company, the man whose picture she had seen on their website, whose biography she had memorized. He turned to her with genuine interest. "Yes, I'm David Henderson. And you are?" "Sarah Martinez. I have an 11 o'clock interview with Mr. Peterson for the project coordinator position." She paused, then added quietly, "My babysitter canceled this morning. I know it's not ideal, but I couldn't miss this opportunity." Mr. Henderson glanced down at Emma, who was looking up at him with curious eyes. "And what's your name, young lady?" "Emma," she said shyly, but with a small smile. "I'm 4. Mommy says I'm going to help her get a job today by being very, very quiet." Something in the CEO's expression softened. He knelt down to Emma's level. "You know what? I think you're already helping your mom just by being such a good daughter." He stood up and turned to Sarah. "Ms. Martinez, why don't we conduct this interview in my office instead? Emma, would you like to see some of the artwork we have on the walls? We have some beautiful paintings that I think you might enjoy." The receptionist looked stunned. "Sir, but the company policy—" "The company policy," Mr. Henderson said firmly, "is to recognize talent and dedication when we see it. A mother who brings her child to an interview rather than miss an important opportunity shows exactly the kind of commitment and problem-solving ability we value here." As they walked toward the elevator, Mr. Henderson continued, "You know, Ms. Martinez, I was raised by a single mother myself. She worked 3 jobs to support my sister and me. I learned early that the strongest people are often those who are juggling the most responsibilities." The interview lasted 45 minutes, and it was unlike any job interview Sarah had ever experienced. They talked about her qualifications, yes, but they also discussed work-life balance, the company's family-friendly policies, and the importance of creating an environment where dedicated employees could thrive regardless of their personal circumstances. Emma sat quietly in a corner chair, occasionally looking up to admire the artwork or to give her mother an encouraging smile. At the end of the interview, Mr. Henderson walked them back to the lobby. "Ms. Martinez, you'll hear from us within the week. But I can tell you now that anyone who can manage a 4-year-old and still present themselves as professionally as you have today is exactly the kind of person we want on our team." 2 days later, Sarah received the call. She had gotten the job, along with a starting salary that was higher than she had dared to hope for, and benefits that included on-site childcare. On her first day of work, as she dropped Emma off at the company's bright, welcoming childcare center, Sarah thought about that moment in the lobby when everything had seemed lost. Sometimes, she reflected, the worst moments lead to the best opportunities. Sometimes, what feels like a rejection is actually life's way of leading you exactly where you need to be. Emma waved goodbye from the child care center window, and Sarah walked to her new office with a lightness in her step she hadn't felt in months. She had found more than just a job. She had found a place that understood that her roles as both a mother and a professional didn't have to be in conflict, but could instead be complementary strengths that made her exactly the person they needed.